Alright, so 10.1 is an introduction to lines, line segments, and rays. Alright, so a line is a straight path that has no beginning and continues without an end. Think of a line on a road or a line on the concrete, right? It just keeps going, it doesn't end.
Yeah.
Alright, that's a line. When we have a line, we have point A and point B on a line. But do you see how these arrows are there? Okay. If you see an arrow on each end of the line, that means it's a line. Okay. It's going to keep going. That's why that arrow says just keeps going. Okay. All right. So when we have a line and we have 2 points on the line, we call that line AB or BA. Okay. And you'll see this on top of it generally. Okay. All right. So, like if you're thinking of railroad tracks, the sections of a railroad track don't go on forever. They're sections of a track, right? How many of you have ever had a railroad track to put together as a kid? Or cars? Okay. So you know how they come in segments?
Yeah.
All right. So that is called a line segment. A piece of that railroad track is a segment. It's just a piece. Okay? Because they have a beginning point and they have an ending point. All right, so if we have a line segment, we have points. Okay, a beginning and an end. So what? I know, but you can see what I'm looking at, right? See how these are points? Okay, so what's the difference between this one and the other one that we just looked at? Daniel.
They have like lines, like arrows.
And what is that called?
It's called a line.
Okay, what is this one called, everybody?
Line segment.
Line segment. Okay, and then when you see this, like if you have 2 points on a line, you're going to have, oh my goodness. Let's see if I can explain it. Nope. You have line CD, and it's just going to have a line over it instead of the arrows over it. So if you're asked to write a line, it would be CD. Just like that. You can, it's not necessary. Alright, so we have a line segment, and then we have a mixture of the two, which is called a ray. Okay? A ray has a beginning point, but it continues on. Okay? Like a sun ray. Starts at the sun, continues on to us.
Light beam?
A light beam starts someplace. Starts with your flashlight, and it continues on for as far as it can, right?
That goes forever.
Not necessarily. Yes, Daniel.
So it's like a line and like a line segment.
Right. It's a mixture in between. You have a line that's got the arrows on each end. You have a line segment that's got just the points on each end. And then you have a ray, which is both. It's got a point and an arrow. Yes.
I'm supposed to be learning about that one where there's like a bunch of these and kind of like a box and
yeah, that's a point. I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. All right. So, any questions about those three? You have a line with the arrows, a line segment with the points, and an array which has one of each. Yes, Carolina.
Why do they have to have those letters?
Because when you have to name something, and we'll get to there, you're gonna find yourself having to name a line. Like you'll have a bunch of different lines, and they'll want you to name a line. So then you'll have the point, EF. We're gonna get there. You're jumping ahead of me.
Yeah.
All right. So what kind of line segments do you see?
Oh.
Maricela, come up and circle one. Okay, so if Maricela was to pick this one, she could write a line segment AB. Just like that. Carolina, come up and pick out another line segment.
How many is there?
Okay, good. So you can name this one point A. Are you talking about this line right here?
Yeah. Keeps on going on.
That keeps going. So that would actually be a...
No, it doesn't keep on going because it stops right there on the wire. Right. It stops on the top.
Okay, so then you would have to use a point here and a point here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that would be AB. You can't go from, Carolina, you went from this point right here to this point right here, but there's no line. Do you see that? That's on the fence. Gianluca? Okay, so this would be line segment GH, right? So we can say GH. Okay, last one, Najee.
She said that's the last one.
You can name them any letters you want. Okay, what do you want to name them?
X and Y.
X and Y. Okay, doesn't matter the letters. You can name them any letters you want. Good.
They have to be like T.
Huh? No. No. They don't have to be.
So you can put like X and A.
All right. So.
Quiet.
Yes. Oh yeah. All right. So these right here show us that these lines are parallel. So this line and this line are parallel. This line and this line are parallel. We're going to talk more about parallel lines when we get further on. Same thing with perpendicular. Okay, perpendicular are two lines that meet each other. And we're doing those later, so I'm not even going to start with those. Alright, so let's take a look at 10.1.
And 10.3.
Alright, so we're also going to be looking at angles. I'm waiting for everybody to be on page 399 with me. Okay, so on these two pages, 399 and 400, you've got 9 of your vocabulary words. You have a point, which is just how it sounds, a point. Okay. You have a, what is this called? What is this one? Negative. Right. Hey, how many know what this is?
That's an angle.
Everybody.
It's
It's just an angle.
an obtuse angle.
Okay, good. All right, let's see how much you know about your angles then.
Oh, let's do this.
Okay, what is this?
Right angle. Oh, yeah. Acute angle. Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Straight line. Obtuse angle.
No.
Straight line.
It's a straight angle. It's currently saying it's freezing it.
What's it be on straight?
I'm going to. Okay, so that's a straight angle.
What?
And what about this one?
Acute angle. Acute angle.
Okay, and then we're going to use our whiteboards in a minute to actually go through. In fact, go ahead and get your whiteboards now.